Alright, it's day 21, nighttime. Growth has been very explosive since I last fertilized and watered all the way to the bottom. That was exactly what these garlic plants needed for good growth because their roots grow very fast and deep. They're thick roots emanating from those bulbs, so the soil, aside from the soil on the top, was largely dry before I watered. So these are all at different stages of growth. Some are barely coming out, especially in the middle, and others are 20 to 30 centimeters tall. The cloves in the middle are just now starting to germinate, so they'll catch up pretty soon. As for the first leaves, what I'm calling the sheaths, those actually get bigger and fatter and wider as time goes on. The diameter of the opening inside gets wider, which I didn't really expect, but it makes sense. Okay, it's day 26, and growth has kind of tapered off in my estimate. So it's time for my first harvest. Some of these leaves are bending over and they look wilted, but I can assure you that's not due to lack of watering. It's just very, very hot now and the sun's shining directly on them in the afternoon. So that could be part of the problem. There's just not all that much turgor pressure and rigidity. So I'm going to start off with a harvesting experiment. I'm going to draw an imaginary line down the middle like that, and over here I'm going to harvest one leaf, the biggest ones, and on that side I'm going to just chop off after a certain height of foliage. I'm just taking a clean wash pair of scissors and I'm going to do a very direct harvest into a bag. And what I'm doing here on this half of the foliage on the right side is I'm just trimming off the largest leaves because those are the ones that are the most floppy and they're causing problems because they're falling over and touching all this other stuff, which I don't like. So I like to trim those, and for the other side it's very easy. I'm just chopping away the top, kind of like cutting the grass manually, except this is a very small lawn. So you can see how fast that went, and the height is roughly half of the right side. The first thing you notice after you cut these leaves is that beads of fluid appear and there's a fragrance of garlic. And that means there's a transpiration pull, there's probably a lot of turgor pressure. It's just these leaves are naturally floppy, they're not very rigid. The tallest leaves on the right, straightened out properly, measure 35 centimeters tall, and on the left side I've cut them down to roughly 17.5 centimeters tall. The prep work in the kitchen is very simple. Just grab everything in a bundle, wash it under some water, wash the scissors, and then use the scissors to clip everything into manageable lengths. So to stir fry, we're going to need some oil, and to provide that oil I have some smoked bacon, thick sliced, fresh, that I bought from Albertsons, the local grocery store. It's much fresher than that pre-packaged crap you often see on the shelves in 4 degrees Celsius. I'm going to take out 3 strips of bacon and start heating at high heat until they sizzle and let out their oils. I know the volume of meat in the end is going to be much greater than that of my vegetable harvest, but this first harvest was expected to be meager. It's just a trial harvest. So I'm going to stir fry on high heat. You can see the bacon starting to warp. This is on fast forward, just for entertainment purposes. So this whole idea to grow garlic was actually my Chinese coworker's idea, and she also suggested that I try adding some bacon for my first cooking or harvest. And I thought it was a great idea, you know, a heavy flavored meat to complement a heavy flavored vegetable. And presumably, I assumed it would taste and smell like garlic, and that's what she said. Although I had never done this in my entire life, so this is all new for me. And I actually haven't eaten bacon for a really long time. It's really high in fat, it's got some preservatives typically, and it's just not ideal for bodybuilding. Oh, that's the vegetables right there. The garlic leaves go in last, of course, because they cook very quickly. As with all other thin leafy vegetables, they have a very high surface area to volume ratio, and they quickly absorb all the oils in the bacon. So 3 minutes on high heat, stir fried, is about what I'm doing right now. And I wait for the leaves to appear a little bit wilted and greasy looking, and I figure it's time to stop. Although the volume is unimpressive for this first harvest, I figure it's easily worth more than a small bundle of young chives I saw in the supermarket going for $2 a bundle with much smaller volume. So I figured I've already recouped my $2 garlic investment cost right here and beyond maybe. The flavors of this dish ended up being stunning. The bacon and the garlic leaves complement each other and go together very well.